Have you ever wanted to be a harbinger of death? Well, today is your lucky day. In today's video, we're going to be going over a build that you can start really early in the game that gets pretty incredibly powerful as you progress through the game. Now, we're going to be able to acquire a weapon called the Halo Scythe, which is particularly powerful and you can get it relatively early on. And this allows you to shoot these rings of golden death at your enemies that do quite a bit of damage and stun. We're also going to be going over a couple of other really useful incantations for this, and I really do hope you all enjoy kind of the first build that we've put together for this game. But thank you all so much for watching, and let's get into this. Now, to get the first piece of this rather overpowered puzzle, we're going to need to head to the swamps of Aeonia, which is down on the eastern side of the map in Caelid. And if you've never been here before, you can follow this road down, past the Dragon of Death, and into the Celia Town of Sorcery, while you'll run through and head down into the actual swamps of Aeonia, until you get to the inner Aeonia Site of Grace. Now from here, you're going to see the monster that we need to kill walking around this particular tree. Now, it can be a little bit of a pain, so I particularly like just sneaking up on them because I don't want to get blasted by these like homing halo missiles. So I just murder them, and this isn't 100% drop rate, so you need to kill this boss repeatedly, or not, it's not a boss, it's just a monster, to be able to drop the Halo Scythe. Now there are items that you can use to help this, like the Silver Pickled Fowlfoot, which we're going to use. Once you kill it, just go ahead and run back to the Site of Grace and repeat the process until it drops the Halo Scythe. Now I'm not going to lie to you, this could take a little while to get, depending on your luck. I think I had to kill him about 20-something times, and I found that unlocking this Site of Grace by killing the boss over here is probably the fastest way to kill this particular mob. If you rest at it and then run directly west, this dude is going to be walking right through here, and this is where you can just like sneak up on him and just completely ruin his life, allowing you to farm up the Halo Scythe a little bit faster than the other spot. Now, when you first get this weapon and you try and use the Rings of Light, it's not going to seem that impressive with the amount of damage that it does. Now, if we upgrade the Halo Scythe to just level 5, it starts becoming ridiculously overpowered. Now, we can get into the damage scaling of this weapon here in a little bit, but there's a couple other pieces of this puzzle that we want to get. Now, we're going to go to the Artist's Shack here in Lorinia, which is just up this road, and you can follow this all the way along to get to the Artist's Shack. Now, along this road, you're going to see this Golden Knight, which is right down here, and if we murderize this Golden Knight, we're going to get a pretty cool incantation that you're going to absolutely love. Now, thankfully, with this weapon, this Golden Knight is literally the easiest thing in the world. We can loot it, and we get the Dragon Cult Prayer Book. Now, with this prayer book in hand, we can head to the Church of Vows, and we're going to talk to the big old turtle dude. We're going to make sure to give him the prayer book, and we're going to give him the Dragon Cult Prayer Book. And there's quite a few ones here that we're going to want to get. The Lightning Spear, the Electrifying Armament, or really anything else you want in here. Now, the one that I specifically want is Lightning Spear. This does require 17 faith to be able to use. Now, the great thing about Lightning Spear is it's incredibly fast to cast and does quite a bit of damage as well. You can also get Honed Bolt from this particular NPC. It takes a little bit longer to cast, requires more faith, but it's also cheaper and does a lot of damage as well. Now, next up, we're going to get a new seal as well as a really great incantation called the Black Flame. We can do this by going to the Liftside Chamber Site of Grace. And if we run out from this Site of Grace without having to fight anything, just run right past all of this stuff, we can roll right through this little barricade and go through here. And you're going to see a little doorway that we can run through. And you are going to need a stone sword key for this, so if you don't have one, you can purchase one or find one in the world. There's going to be a couple of rats and things down here that we can just murder real quick, or almost die to. It's embarrassing dying to rats, but sometimes that's just the way it be, you know? There we go. And we've got the Stone Sword Imp right here. We're going to use the key. And once we get rid of this fog wall, we can run right down into here. And then the left here is going to be the Godkin's, or Godslayer's seal rather. And then in this one is going to be the Godkin's book, which we can turn over to that big turtle dude to learn some new skills. Now once we give this book to the turtle, we can unlock the Black Flame incantation, as well as the Black Flame Blade incantation. It gets better with the higher level things that you are fighting. Now this new finger seal is also really good as well because it boosts the damage of your Godkin. Now the Black Flame is pretty dang good for a multitude of reasons. On lower level things it's not as great, but it does leave a dot on your enemies, and the dot scales on your enemy's HP, so for bosses it can actually do quite a bit. But you also got a new finger seal that's going to drastically, well I guess not drastically, but it's going to increase the damage of your Godkin incantations as well. So you definitely want to use this new finger seal with these specific incantations. Now next up, we're going to get a pretty awesome incantation. Now if we go back to the Erdtree Grazing Hill Site of Grace, we can run across through here to be able to get to the Atlas Highway location. And there's a couple different ways. You can go up through these stairs and along through here. Follow the road all the way around to be able to get to the Road of Iniquity side path, and then just continue following this road down across the bridge until you get to the Bridge of Iniquity Site of Grace. From this Site of Grace, you're just going to keep running through all of the enemies that are here until we get to a little village with a broken bridge. Once you get to this spot, I would recommend taking out any of the wolves that are currently here because you're going to be invaded by an NPC that's not necessarily difficult, but it is difficult when you've got a bunch of these little like mongrels fighting you. Once you take out the wolves, you can walk a little bit farther forward and you're going to be invaded by an NPC. Take out this NPC, which is relatively easy, and then you're going to head inside of this building where she spawned, and you're going to loot the corpse. Now this incantation, Golden Vow, is pretty amazing, especially for playing with other people, because it's going to boost yourself and your allies' attack and defense. Now it does cost a lot of FP to use, it's like 47 or something, but it's going to boost all of our other abilities from this as well, like the Halo Scythe's little golden rings of death is going to make those more powerful. It's going to boost literally everything that we've gotten so far in this video. Now pair this with the Mimics tier, and then you've got two of yourself, which is just gonna be stupid. Now I did make a video on exactly how to get the Mimics tier, so if you don't have it already and you just want to have two of you, I highly recommend watching that video. It's honestly just really fun watching yourself just murder everybody, and you can just kind of sit back and use your ranged attacks as a distraction, like the Black Flame, where you can just kind of sit back, let yourself tank on the other side, and just kind of do a whole bunch of damage from the back with lightning bolts and your Halo Scythe and everything. It's just a lot of fun.